Your latest action has left them in a state of emotional upheaval, struggling to process the weight of your decisions and their implications. They never anticipated how deeply your recent move would impact them, leaving them grappling with a whirlwind of conflicting emotions and thoughts. The magnitude of your recent change has them feeling overwhelmed as they try to come to terms with how everything has shifted in such a short time. Their mind is racing, overwhelmed by the suddenness of your latest move, as they try to understand how to adjust to this unexpected turn of events. Your latest action has sent shockwaves through their emotional landscape, leaving them overwhelmed and uncertain about how to navigate this new reality. They are struggling to keep up with the pace of your recent move, feeling overwhelmed by the rapid changes and their own reactions to them. The impact of your latest decision has left them in a state of emotional disarray, overwhelmed by the need to reassess their feelings and expectations. They find themselves caught off guard by your recent actions, overwhelmed by the challenge of processing the profound shift it has created in their life. Your latest move has them reeling, overwhelmed by the sudden changes and the emotional fallout that has followed in its wake. The enormity of your recent decision has left them feeling overwhelmed, struggling to reconcile their feelings with the new reality you've introduced. They are grappling with an intense emotional response to your latest move, feeling overwhelmed by the depth of their feelings and the abrupt shift in their world. Your recent action has struck a chord deep within them, leaving them overwhelmed as they try to make sense of the emotional storm that has followed. The weight of your latest move has them feeling emotionally inundated, struggling to find clarity amidst the confusion and upheaval it has caused. They are struggling to adapt to the new reality brought about by your recent decision, feeling overwhelmed as they try to navigate the emotional consequences. Your latest action has stirred a whirlwind of emotions in them, leaving them overwhelmed and searching for a way to understand the full impact of your choices. The sheer intensity of your recent move has overwhelmed their emotional state, making it difficult for them to process and adjust to the sudden change. They are feeling emotionally inundated by your latest decision, overwhelmed by the need to reassess their feelings and the direction their life has taken. Your recent move has left them in a state of emotional chaos, overwhelmed by the rapid changes and the depth of their own reactions. The magnitude of your latest action has them feeling completely overwhelmed, struggling to find a sense of stability in the midst of the emotional turbulence. They are overwhelmed by the suddenness and scale of your recent move, finding it challenging to come to terms with the shift it has created in their life. Your latest decision has had a profound effect on them, leaving them feeling emotionally overwhelmed and grappling with the new reality it has introduced. They are reeling from the impact of your recent action, overwhelmed by the emotional upheaval and the need to realign their feelings with this new development. The emotional intensity of your latest move has left them feeling overwhelmed, struggling to process the full implications of what has transpired. They find themselves lost in a sea of emotions after your recent decision, overwhelmed by the sudden changes and their own internal responses. Your latest action has created a tidal wave of feelings in them, leaving them overwhelmed and searching for a way to understand and cope with the change. The sheer scale of your recent move has them feeling emotionally flooded, overwhelmed by the need to adjust to the new circumstances it has created. They are feeling a profound sense of overwhelm as they come to grips with the impact of your latest decision, struggling to find their footing amidst the changes. Your latest move has them in a state of emotional disarray, overwhelmed by the sudden shift and the challenge of understanding its implications. The intensity of your recent action has left them feeling emotionally overwhelmed as they try to navigate the profound changes it has brought into their life. They are overwhelmed by the rapid and significant shift caused by your latest move, struggling to reconcile their feelings with the new reality. Your recent decision has left them feeling emotionally engulfed, overwhelmed by the need to adjust to the new dynamics and their own internal turmoil. They are struggling to process the emotional impact of your latest move, feeling overwhelmed by the depth of their feelings and the extent of the change. The sudden shift brought by your recent action has them feeling completely overwhelmed as they try to navigate the intense emotions that have surfaced. They are overwhelmed by the flood of emotions triggered by your latest move, struggling to find a way to cope with the profound changes it has brought. Your recent decision has left them feeling emotionally submerged, overwhelmed by the need to process the significant shift and its impact on their life. They are grappling with an intense sense of overwhelm following your latest action, finding it difficult to adjust to the new reality and their internal reactions. The emotional toll of your recent move has left them feeling overwhelmed as they attempt to understand and adapt to the sudden and profound changes. They are feeling a deep sense of emotional overwhelm after your latest decision, struggling to process the impact and realign their expectations with this new reality. The intensity of your recent action has left them feeling completely overwhelmed as they try to manage the flood of emotions and the shift it has created. They are overwhelmed by the emotional upheaval caused by your latest move, struggling to navigate the changes and the impact on their inner world. Your recent decision has triggered a profound emotional response in them, leaving them feeling overwhelmed and challenged by the need to adapt and cope. They are struggling with a deep sense of overwhelm after your latest action, finding it difficult to process the rapid changes and their own emotional reactions. The suddenness of your recent move has left them feeling emotionally overwhelmed as they grapple with the profound shift and its implications for their life. They are feeling overwhelmed by the emotional impact of your latest decision, struggling to come to terms with the new dynamics and their own internal turmoil. Your recent action has created a significant emotional response in them, leaving them overwhelmed and searching for a way to understand and navigate the changes. They are overwhelmed by the depth of emotions stirred by your latest move, struggling to find a sense of stability amidst the rapid and profound shift. The emotional intensity of your recent decision has left them feeling completely overwhelmed as they try to process the changes and their own internal responses. They are struggling to manage the overwhelming emotions triggered by your latest action, finding it difficult to adjust to the new reality and its implications. Your recent move has left them in a state of emotional overwhelm as they grapple with the profound shift and the need to realign their feelings. They are feeling deeply overwhelmed by the emotional impact of your latest decision, struggling to process the sudden and significant changes it has caused. The intensity of your recent action has left them feeling emotionally flooded, overwhelmed by the need to understand and adapt to the new reality. They are overwhelmed by the emotional fallout from your latest move, struggling to find their footing amidst the profound changes and internal reactions. Your recent decision has triggered a wave of emotions in them, leaving them feeling completely overwhelmed as they try to navigate the shift it has created. They are grappling with a profound sense of overwhelm following your latest action, finding it challenging to process and adjust to the new emotional landscape. The emotional toll of your recent move has left them feeling overwhelmed as they attempt to come to terms with the changes and their own internal turmoil. They are feeling overwhelmed by the depth and intensity of emotions stirred by your latest decision, struggling to understand and cope with the sudden shift. Your recent action has created a significant emotional upheaval in them, leaving them overwhelmed and searching for a way to navigate the profound changes. They are overwhelmed by the flood of emotions triggered by your latest move, finding it difficult to adjust to the new reality and its implications. The intensity of your recent decision has left them feeling completely overwhelmed as they try to manage the emotional fallout and the shift it has caused. They are struggling with a deep sense of overwhelm following your latest action, finding it challenging to process the changes and their own emotional responses. Your recent move has left them in a state of emotional disarray, overwhelmed by the profound shift and the challenge of understanding its implications. They are feeling overwhelmed by the emotional impact of your latest decision, struggling to reconcile their feelings with the new circumstances and the changes it has caused. The suddenness of your recent action has left them feeling completely overwhelmed as they try to navigate the intense emotions that have surfaced.